Oh yes, we shall overcome. And the COVID-19 situation is getting worse by the day. Sadly, not even the government seems to have the perfect solution or most plausible answers to many questions that Kenyans are asking. The fears, the anxiety, the confusion, the disbelief, the pessimism. Tough times to be in leadership for President Uhuru Kenyatta and his administration. But it's such calamities that truly define the mark of quality leadership, decision-making, tough choices, and answers even for the most unusual questions. But the COVID-19 pandemic has also brought the worst of our collective and individual behaviors. Unfortunately, while a majority of Kenyans are doing their best to stay safe, the conduct of a few exemplifies total disregard for basic decency. The impunity with which guidelines on social distancing and unnecessary gatherings have been violated by those in positions of authority and influence is disheartening. I'm glad that Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja sobered up and apologized for flouting the curfew guidelines and paid the 15,000 shillings fine. Kasipul lawmaker Charles Ongondowere was the second legislator to bear the consequences for what I call COVID-19 bad manners. That persons in high office have been frequenting certain high-end bars and partying way past curfew hours is an open secret. That their conduct has gone unpunished for weeks and months until Sakaja's incident is an affirmation of the double standards in implementation of laws in this country. It's a no-brainer that there seems to be to exist two sets of laws, one for ordinary citizenry and the other for the big shots. Kenyans are yet again anxiously waiting for President Uhuru Kenyatta's state of COVID-19 addressed to the nation on Monday. Will he lock down the country again? Will he impose punitive measures and restrictions to tame the rising number of coronavirus infections and deaths? And how sustainable would a fresh round of lockdown be, given the country's economic situation and the effects on livelihoods since COVID-19 struck? These are some of the questions I have seen on various WhatsApp groups. I have no idea what he will say or direct, but maybe your guess could be as good as mine. But whichever decision the president makes, there are fundamental flaws and obvious loopholes in implementation of the COVID-19 orders. Why, for example, would the government send contingents of anti-riot police officers to disperse meetings organized by former Kakamega Senator Dr. Boni Halwale, notwithstanding the obvious political mischief on his part, but turn a blind eye to similar meetings organized by devolution CS Eugene Wamalwa and Western Kenya governors in the name of pursuing the seemingly elusive Luhya unity ahead of the 2022 State House succession arithmetic? Why should enforcement of these guidelines be influenced politically? Why can't the law apply across board, whether you are pro-handshake or anti-handshake, whether you support BBI or detest it? There is something about obedience of laws and guidelines by persons in positions of responsibility that aids observance of similar guidelines by ordinary citizens. The good book makes it abundantly clear in the Gospel of St. Luke, chapter 12, verse 48. And I read from King James Version. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be required much. Let me take that again. Yeah? For unto whomever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more. But the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Health, Mutahi Kagwe, last Saturday had what I considered the soundbite of the week. I would love to share it with you.
I urge the public, do not fall trap to going to political gatherings. Just don't go. If you all refuse to go, then politicians would be standing there speaking to themselves. And within no time at all, nobody would go. Nobody would call a meeting. They call a meeting because they know you are foolish enough to go. So if you stop and you become wiser, it won't happen.
All right, so make a choice. Will you be the wise one or the foolish one? That's my punchline.